You're a disappointment. My father shouted as he signed my trust fund over to my sister. She's a lawyer. And you're just playing with computers in your apartment. I didn't argue. I just smiled and left. 3 years later, their faces at the IPO ceremony were priceless. You're a disappointment. My father barked as he signed over my trust fund to my sister. She's a lawyer, and you're just fooling around with computers in your apartment. I didn't argue. I simply smiled and walked away. 3 years later, the looks on everyone's face at the IPO were priceless. In my father's study, with its imposing mahogany walls, the final document was signed with flourish. The scratching of his Mont Blanc pen on paper felt like nails on a chalkboard as he slid the transfer papers across his desk. It's done. All $2 million go to Jennifer, he declared. My name is Emma Chen, and in 2008 my family was writing me off for good. My sister Jennifer stood by the window, trying to mask a victorious smile as she watched our father disinherit me. Emma, my mother sighed from her spot in the leather armchair. If you'd gone to law school like your sister, if you'd applied yourself. I did apply myself, I murmured, watching my father's expression darken. But not the way you expected. Messing around with computers in your apartment isn't applying yourself, he snapped, looming over his desk. Your sister is a partner at Thompson & Mitchell 32, while you're just coding websites for small businesses in that cramped city apartment. I could have explained then that what looked like idle tinkering was actually the creation of an ad-driven fintech platform, set to revolutionize global markets. I could have mentioned the Series B funding meeting with venture capitalists who had already valued my company at $300 million. But I didn't. I'd learned long ago that my family only sees what they want to see. You had a meeting next week, right? I said, standing up. Clearly, I'm a disappointment. Jennifer deserves the money more than I do. Jennifer shifted uncomfortably by the window. For a moment I saw the sister I once knew. The one who'd shared ice cream with me on tough days, who'd helped me with math homework before our parents' expectations drove us apart. Emma, she began, but I raised a hand. It's fine, Jen. Really, congratulations on making partner. You earned this. As I walked toward the door, my mother called after me. Will you at least join us for dinner? Your father booked a table at Lear Down to celebrate Jennifer's promotion. I paused one last time, taking in my father's disapproving frown, my mother's practiced worry, and Jennifer's mix of triumph and guilt. The study's walls were lined with law degrees and bar association awards. Not a single photo of me or my achievements. I have a meeting, I said. But enjoy dinner. The drive back to the city gave me time to reflect. The trust fund was never really about the money. I had more than enough of my own. It was about what it represented. My parents had set up identical trusts for Jennifer and me at birth, scheduled to be released on our 33rd birthdays, but with a clause allowing them to redirect the funds if one of us wasn't living up to family standards. Then my phone buzzed with a text from Maya, my CTO, BCS. Move the meeting up to tomorrow. You ready? I smiled at the thought of our presentation. More than ready, and typed back, time to change the game. Back at my apartment, the tiny space my father once mocked, I kicked off my heels and headed straight to my home office. Wall-mounted screens displayed real-time data from our AI system's latest test run, numbers scrolling past, each one a successful prediction and validation of our work. What my father dismissed as messing with computers had evolved into Athena Adaptive Trading Harris and Enhanced Neural Analytics, an AI system capable of predicting market movements with unprecedented accuracy by processing millions of data points to uncover patterns no human trader could spot. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Jennifer. I'm sorry about Dad, her text read. You know how he gets. Besides, the trust fund doesn't add up. You're doing fine with your computer stuff. I stared at her message, noting that even her attempt at kindness carried a subtle dismissal of my work. Thanks, Jen. Enjoy dinner, I replied, then turned back to my screens. I pulled up the pitch deck for tomorrow's EC meeting. The numbers were staggering. Our beta test showed Athena outperforming traditional trading algorithms by 32%, and major banks were already quietly reaching out, eager for early access to our technology. A soft chime signaled an incoming video call from Maya. Her face filled one screen, her usual energy slightly subdued. Hey, she said. How'd it go with the family? About as expected, I replied, running a hand through my hair. Dad signed over my trust fund to Jennifer. They're celebrating at Arden right now. Maya shook her head. They lost you. Ready to show those VCs what real success looks like tomorrow. I pulled up another screen displaying Athena's latest test results. Actually, I've been thinking, what if we don't take the VC money? Maya's eyes widened. What, Emma? We're talking about a $50 million investment at a $300 million valuation. That's small thinking. I interrupted. Look at these numbers, Maya. We don't need VC funding. We could go public within a year and maintain complete control. I smiled, recalling my father's face at the IPO ceremony. Let's show them what messing with computers can really accomplish. Maya paused. Then a slow grin spread across her face. You want to build an empire? I want to build something that even my father can't dismiss. Something that changes the entire financial world. Your father's a corporate lawyer, Maya pointed out. Wouldn't he have heard about Athena if it were as revolutionary as we think? I laughed. Maya, my father still uses a BlackBerry and thinks coding is something you learn at a community college. He hasn't heard about Athena because he never bothered to ask why I do what I do. He's lost, Maya said firmly. So what's the play? Cancel the VC meeting? I shook my head, an idea forming. No, we use it. Instead of chasing investment, we pitch partnerships. We get them to open doors to their networks of financial institutions. We don't need their money. We need their connections. 6 months after being disinherited, I stood in our new downtown Manhattan office, watching our team of engineers work on Athena's final testing phase. Floor-to-ceiling windows provided a stunning view of the financial district, the very institutions our technology was set to revolutionize. Emma, Maya called from her workstation. You need to see this. I grabbed my coffee and joined her at her screen. The latest simulation results exceeded even our wildest projections. Athena wasn't just predicting market movements. It was identifying market-moving events before they happened. Is this accurate? I asked, leaning in to study the data. Maya nodded, her eyes shining with excitement. Triple verified. The AI picked up patterns from social media, news articles, and trading. Behaviors that predicted the Morgan Stanley merger announcement 3 days early. If this had been live trading instead of a simulation, we'd have made $1 billion. I added, have you shown this to the compliance team? That's the best part, she said, switching to another screen. Everything is completely legal. Athena isn't using insider information. It's just connecting publicly available data points better than any human ever could. Then my phone buzzed with a text from Jennifer. Hey sis, haven't heard from you in months. The parents are worried. Dad says your phone at the apartment is disconnected. I smiled slightly. Of course it was. The whole operation had moved to a $40 million office space just 6 blocks from Wall Street. Yet my family still believed I was stuck in a tiny apartment, just fooling around with computers. I texted back, I'm fine, just busy with work. Soon another buzz came, this time from our head of legal, David. SEC meeting confirmed for next week. They're interested in our compliance protocols. That was an understatement. Once word got out about our revolutionary fintech project, the SEC practically begged for a meeting. They wanted to understand our technology before it hit the market. Smart of them, really, I thought. Then Miss Chun, our receptionist, announced over the intercom, there's a Mr. Thompson here to see you. He says he's from Thompson & Mitchell. My heart skipped a beat. Thompson & Mitchell was Jennifer's law firm, one of the largest corporate firms in the city. Send him in, I said. Straightening my blazer, I greeted James Thompson himself, a senior partner and my sister's boss. He looked exactly like the kind of lawyer my father admired. Silver-haired, in a perfectly tailored suit radiating old money confidence. Miss Chun, he said, extending his hand. Thank you for seeing me without an appointment. I hope you'll forgive the intrusion, but we've heard rumors about what you're developing here. Rumors? I asked, gesturing for him to sit. Let's just say certain financial institutions are very interested in your technology. Some clients have asked us to explore potential relationships. Does your sister know you're here? His smile faltered slightly. Jennifer, no, this meeting is strictly confidential, though I must admit I was surprised to learn you're her sister. She never mentioned having a sister who messes around with computers. I guess she hasn't mentioned me much at all, I replied. At that moment, Maya appeared in the doorway, tablet in hand. Emma, sorry to interrupt, but the Goldman Sachs team is here for their demo. Thompson's eyebrows shot up at the mention of Goldman Sachs. I could almost see him recalculating my worth. Mr. Thompson, I said, rising, I apologize, but I have another meeting. If you'd like to discuss potential relationships, please contact our legal team to schedule something. Of course, he said as he quickly rose. But Miss Chun, whatever Goldman is offering, we can match. Thompson & Mitchell represents half of the major financial institutions in the city. I stepped to the door with a strange satisfaction. It's not about the money, Mr. Thompson. It's about completely changing the game. I'm sure you understand. After he left, Maya gave me a knowing look. You enjoyed that, didn't you? Maybe a little, I admitted. How long until he tells Jennifer about our little operation here? Given that her firm represents billions in financial interests, I'd say about 5 minutes. Sure enough, my phone buzzed again. Emma, why didn't you tell me? Jim Thompson just came back from your office looking like he'd seen a ghost. What exactly are you working on? I put my phone away without answering. There would be time for family revelations later. Right now, we had a demo to prepare. The Goldman Sachs team was already waiting in our conference room. 5 executives in expensive suits, trying not to look too eager. Their presence was a coup. Landing Goldman as an early partner would open every door in the financial world. Ladies and gentlemen, I began, standing at the head of the table. What you're about to witness will completely transform the way markets work. But before we begin, please sign these NDAs. On the morning of our IPO, I stood before the mirror, adjusting my suit so impeccably that even my parents would notice the change. The Wall Street Journal lay open on my desk, headlining our company's upcoming public offering. Athena was about to launch the biggest tech IPO of the year, with an expected valuation of $800 million. My phone had been buzzing nonstop for days. First from Jennifer, then my mother, and even my father had tried to get through. I let their messages pile up, knowing they'd all be at the ceremony anyway. The invitations had been sent weeks ago, and everyone was ready for this moment. Just then Maya appeared in my office doorway. She had swapped her usual tech casual outfit for a sharp business suit. Clearly, she was ready. "How's Athena performing this morning?" I asked, grabbing my presentation folder. "Like a dream," she replied. Emma's latest analysis shows it's predicting market movements with 99.7% accuracy. The trading floor is buzzing. Everyone knows this is about to change everything. We then made our way to the stock exchange, where a crowd had already gathered. Financial reporters lined the entrance, their cameras flashing as we approached. I caught snippets of their commentary. Youngest female CEO to take a company public, revolutionary AI trading technology, and already signing contracts with major financial institutions. Inside, the atmosphere was electric. Our team gathered near the podium alongside representatives from every major bank and financial institution in the city. And in the front row sat my family. My father's face revealed a mix of pride, regret, and awe. My mother kept dabbing at her eyes with a handkerchief, and Jennifer stared at me, as if she were seeing her sister for the very first time. "Emma," my father called as I stepped toward the podium. "We had no idea." "No, you didn't," I said calmly. "Not because you didn't care, but because you never asked." Before he could reply, the exchange president called me to the stage. It was time to begin the ceremony. "Ladies and gentlemen," I began, my voice echoing across the suddenly hushed trading floor. 3 years ago I started coding Athena in a tiny apartment. People dismissed it as just fooling around with computers. They said I was wasting my potential. They never saw that I was building the future. I met my father's eyes and continued, "Today, Athena processes more financial data in 1 second than all of Wall Street can analyze in a month. It predicts market movements with near-perfect accuracy, while following strict ethical and legal standards. More importantly, it shows what's possible when you believe in your vision, even when no one else does." The ceremony unfolded with tradition, speeches, handshakes, and the ringing of the bell. But the true turning point came when our stock price lit up the big board. The room erupted in cheers as the numbers soared past our projections. By lunch, my personal stake in the company was worth over $300 million. More than 100 times the trust fund my father had signed away. After the ceremony, my family approached me hesitantly. Jennifer was the first to speak. "Emma, I'm so sorry," she said, her usual lawyerly composure cracking slightly. "When you try to tell us about your work, save it." I replied gently. "You all saw only what you wanted to see." My father cleared his throat and added, "Princess, about the trust fund, keep it." I interrupted, "Jennifer earned it just like I earned this." Sometimes the best thing someone can do for you is to believe you're destined to fail. It makes success all the sweeter. My mother protested, "But we're family, we should have supported you." I looked around at my true supporters, Maya and our team. The people who believed in the vision when it was nothing more than lines of code in a cramped apartment. "You're right, we are family," I said. "That's why you're all invited to dinner tonight. I've booked the private room at Leard Dan. I hear it's the perfect place to celebrate success." My father's face tightened at the mention of that dinner from 6 months ago, but he managed a small smile. Later that evening, as my family marveled over expensive wine at our celebration, I thought about the long road that led here, the critics who claimed I was wasting my time, the meetings dismissed as mere computer play, and the victory they had tried to give someone else. Then my phone buzzed with a message from Maya. "Stock closed at double our projected value. You're officially a billionaire." I smiled as I watched my father try to explain to his country club friends how his so-called disappointing daughter had built an empire right under his nose. I've learned that success isn't about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. Later, Jennifer pulled me aside. "Emma, I need to tell you something," she said. "After Jim Thompson returned from your office the other day, I looked up everything I could about Athena. I even started buying stock in every company interested in your technology. I believed in you, even if I never let on." I raised an eyebrow. "Did you actually make money?" She grinned. "Enough to pay back that trust fund 10 times over," she replied. "I'm telling you this because I'm going to need a lawyer I can trust for our next expansion phase. Someone who understands both technology and family." Her eyes widened. "Are you offering me a job at Athena?" I asked. "I'm offering you a chance to be part of something bigger than both of us. What do you say, sis? Ready to play with computers?" The next morning, as I walked into our office building, now officially the ATGN Tower, I passed a young intern working on code in the lobby during her break. She reminded me of my younger self, back when everyone thought I was wasting time with computers. "Keep at it," I told her. "Sometimes the biggest success stories start in the smallest apartments." She looked up, eyes lighting up with recognition. "Miss Chun, I read about how you built Athena. My parents think I'm crazy for choosing programming over law school, but I have a vision." I added, "Hold on to that vision and remember, those who underestimate you today will be reading about you tomorrow." Riding the elevator to my office, I thought about legacy, not the one my father tried to force on me, but the one you build yourself one line of code at a time. Athena wasn't just revolutionizing the financial world. It was proving that success doesn't always look the way people expect. Sometimes the best inheritance isn't what you're given. It's what you create for yourself.